Welcome to Session 20 of the series, An Introduction to Divine Principle. In the previous session, we revealed that the second coming of the Messiah is going to take place. He will stand at the position of God's Son, but he will be born of a woman. More than that, in Session 18, we shared that the Messiah has actually already come, but was not recognized by this world. In this session, we are going to ask the question, who could he be? In Matthew 7:15-16, Jesus urged us to beware of false prophets. He told us that we would know who was a true prophet and who was a false prophet, not based on whether or not they descended from heaven, but by their fruits. A bad tree will produce bad fruits, and a good tree will produce good fruits. And so, let's consider, what fruit should we expect to find coming from the Messiah? One important fruit is the truth that the Messiah brings. According to Revelations 19:15, it is the sword of truth that will enable the Messiah to overcome the evil of this world. Then what is the truth that he will reveal? Number one, as God's Son, the Messiah must be able to reveal the true nature of God, meaning he must reveal to us God's original heart, the heart that inspired and motivated God to bring forth creation. In doing so, he must make clear the original ideal that God intended to realize through our first ancestors, Adam and Eve. In addition, the Messiah must reveal God's parental heart, how God has suffered in anguish when his children fell, and God's pain and sorrow as he watched his children participate in and be dominated by the evil of the world. Number two, the Messiah, whose mission is to fix the tragedy of the human fall, must be able to reveal what that fall actually was. He must expose the true nature of the fruit in the Garden of Eden and the true identity of the serpent. He must let the world know that it was not a fruit, but unprincipled love that separated us from our heavenly parent. Number three, the Messiah must reveal why God has not directly interfered in the affairs of people, why he did not prevent the fall, and why he doesn't use his power to fix everything that has gone wrong. In other words, the Messiah must reveal the principle of shared responsibility, that when it comes to love and the realization of God's ideal, humanity has its own portion of responsibility to fulfill. Number four, the Messiah must reveal God's plan for the restoration of humanity. In other words, God's plan for sending the Messiah. And more than that, he must reveal how God has worked through history in order to prepare a people who would be able to receive the Messiah. Number five, the Messiah must reveal the mission and heart of Jesus, Jesus' desire to establish God's ideal on the earth, the source of his great sorrow as he prayed in Gethsemane, and the significance of his death and resurrection. These are some of the points of truth that the Messiah must reveal. But revealing the truth is not enough. There are other fruits the Messiah must produce. Most importantly, the Messiah is the one who must fix the mistake of Adam and Eve, what we call the original sin. He must be able to stand as the true Adam, and he must find and raise up the woman who can stand as his bride in the position of Eve. Together, as a couple, they must fulfill God's original ideal on the earth. As it says in Revelations 19:7-9, "Let us rejoice and exult and give him the glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and the bride has made herself ready. It was granted her to be clothed with fine linen, bright and pure, for the fine linen is the righteous deeds of the saints." And the angel said to me, "Write this, Blessed are those who are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb." In addition, the Messiah, together with his bride, must stand as the parents of all humanity, and together they must be willing to take responsibility for all people and to bear any cross and endure any sacrifice in order to bring God's love and truth to the world. In so doing, the Messiah must open the way for every person to fulfill God's ideal in their life. And finally, the Messiah must bring the truth and manifest the parental heart that can unify the human family as God's family. He must provide the new thought that can reach beyond religious boundaries and provide the vision that is able to guide government, economics, education, the arts and sciences, and every discipline toward the realization of one family under God. Before we conclude this session, you may have a few questions. Is it really possible that the Messiah has already come again? Is it possible that God's ideal on the earth has already begun, that God's seed, the Messiah and his bride, has been planted and is beginning to grow? Could it be that the doorway to God's ideal has been opened and is now available to all? The good news is that the answers to these questions can be found if you are willing to take 3 steps. Number 1, make effort to understand the truth more clearly. To do that, please study the Divine Principle. This series, An Introduction to the Divine Principle, is not the actual Divine Principle. It is an introduction to some of the key points found in the Divine Principle. Divine Principle programs that go into greater depth are available, or it might be helpful to study through this series a second time. To learn more, you can go to dplife.info. One thing is for sure, if you study the Divine Principle, you will find the answers to your questions. Number 2, make effort to find God's opinion. When looking for a truth in a fallen world, you cannot fully trust people. Take, for example, Jesus. According to the religious leaders of his day and the prominent members of society, he was looked upon as a criminal, worthy to be crucified. In the end, truth must be confirmed by God. To do that, we each need to invest time in the study of God's Word and in prayer. Sincere prayer allows God to speak to us through our conscience. And step number 3, make effort to meet others who are studying the Divine Principle and who are investing themselves in order to put the Divine Principle into practice. Find out what kinds of fruits it has produced in their lives. If you go to dplife.info, you can find out how to connect with other people who are studying the Divine Principle. If you have studied the previous 19 sessions, you will know that the Divine Principle, the revelation that Reverend Moon received from God, is the very truth that reveals God's ideal of creation. How we were separated from God, God's effort through history to send the Messiah, and the true heart and mission of Jesus. In conclusion, it is important to understand that the Messiah will not come in a fantastic way. He will not be recognizable by a glowing light above his head, nor will he have a magical solution to our problems. What the Messiah is going to do, and what is really most crucial, is he and his bride are going to establish God's family and fulfill God's ideal of creation on this earth. In so doing, they will provide the way by which every person and every couple can become members of God's family. In other words, they are going to remove the original sin. They are going to remove the archangel's claim that his love is the source of our being. As you continue your study of the principles, including the principle of creation, and as you continue to study the fall and how we came to be separated from God, you will begin to understand more clearly the principles of restoration, those principles by which God has been working to restore humanity throughout history. And as you learn to apply these principles to your own personal life, you are going to begin to see the actual results, the fulfillment of Jesus' prayer, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Thank you for joining us in this study. If you have questions, please contact us at dplife.info. God bless you.